Just to let y'all know, I just blazed one, and that shit is lovely. Feel me? Alright, so my high ass about to talk about a story from my childhood, and this particular story is about how I got placed on probation and how 6 months of probation turned into 4 years of probation. So let's hop into this. It really held me up, you know? It held me up in life. It was hard for me to overcome this. I victimized myself a lot because of it, and it's just been a big blur for me, you feel me? All right, so when I was 14 years old, I had my first job at Zaxby's, and I had just made enough money to where I can have my own cell phone. So I went down, I purchased my own cell phone with Hargrave. The bill was like, what, $30, $40 a month. It was nothing coming from my little paycheck. I made it do what it do. So I came home with this phone, super excited, showing it off. I had it on my hip and taking pictures with it, everything. Super excited. And my mother decided to bloop, pop my little bubble by letting me know that at 9 o'clock, at 9 o'clock, I had to get this phone up because I live in her house and she paid the bills. And I'm sure a lot of you are like, she right? But in my mind, that was not happening. I was not gonna give a phone that I paid for up at 9 o'clock. So, I was waiting, not even waiting for 9 o'clock to hit. I was kind of nervous because I knew I wasn't gonna get a phone up. And goddamn, 9 o'clock came around the corner. She's married to my stepfather, and they both boom, boom, boom come downstairs with a phone. We told you to have it on the staircase by 9 o'clock, and it's not there. And I just looked at them and I said, I'm not giving y'all the phone. I bought this phone. And they came in my room, they kept asking me for it, and I just kept saying no. My stepfather, he starts pushing me, and he starts, grabbing at me for the phone. Now, I had the phone in my sports bra at the time. I don't remember if they knew where the phone was. I may have started it with it in my pocket and then put it in my sports bra, but he was grabbing for the phone. So, make a long story short, like I say, everything was a blur. I'm not saying anyone pushed me or anyone hit me, but I ended up on the floor. I did kind of feel double teamed, and it was a crazy emotion. I was 14 years old, and I'm being fought for the phone. And I know a lot of you can say, you should have just gave him the phone. Yeah, I should have just gave him the phone, but at the end of the day, back then, my decision, my choice was no, I paid for this phone. I had been asking them for a phone for at least a year and some change. That situation didn't work out, so now that I have my own, this is how I felt. I found myself in a courthouse, but I wasn't really taking anything serious because we would go down there, we would have meetings, and I never really had a court date until one day we went down there and my mother had a couple of things stacked up on me. And these things started from me when I left the house. Me and her would get into it. I would go down the street to my god brother's house, my god mom, she would take care of me, whoop-de-whoop, and I would end up at school the next day. When it came down to me skipping school, it was because I was dating somebody in school. My mother didn't agree with me dating this person because the person was of the same sex, and I definitely understand. So when it came down to us doing things outside of school, it was always a no. So what we did, what I did, I can't say what she did because she got in trouble differently than I did. I wrote bathroom notes. I asked my teacher if I could go to the bathroom. I still passed all my classes. I wouldn't be gone for more than 30 minutes, for real. I just write a little bathroom note, have the teacher sign it, go to the bathroom, meet up, and take my butt back to class. And records prove I've never failed a class in high school. I never, got in trouble by a teacher because I was skipping. All right, so we used to pass letters back when I was in high school, you feel me? And the letters that, would pass back and forth, eventually my mother got into my drawer and started reading them. She read how I was meeting this person in school, and she didn't like that. So she took this information. She took the information about me leaving the house, which is in the state of Georgia, breaking curfew. It was my choice. I did it. I know. You can't be gone after a certain time. Really, you can't be out on the streets. As long as you're in, a guardian's care, you're good. Back then, I didn't know this law. They had it set up. They were thinking that I was just on the streets. No, I was really in somebody's house. And then, the physical situation. All this accumulated, and I found myself in front of a judge one day. I was not dressed the part. I wasn't prepared. I didn't know anything. And I didn't think anything was going to happen because I'm like, I didn't do any crime. What am I here for, So they started reading the laws to me. First law was, I'll go ahead and post it on here, but breaking curfew under the age of 16 in the state of Georgia. The second law was physical contact, domestic violence in the home. The third, truancy. They combined all these together, and I'm sitting there, 14 years old, placed on probation for all three of those things. So I was assigned a probation officer. Her name was Michelle. I never forget her. And from then on, my journey on probation and in the system, being a jailbird started. I definitely was a car Griffin Jive, jailbird. I'm talking about in all the competitions, whenever they had like a little basketball tournament and all that. I was a jailbird, and I was raised in the system. My mother lived in the suburb. My grandmother, she had me stay with my grandmother, lived in the hood in Dallas, Texas. I'm not around here throwing up no gang signs or nothing like that. I do have Dallas tattooed on my arm. That's where I'm from. I'm not no fake payment ass gangster or nothing. I'm really real, and this is my real story. Jail had a lot of influence when I was younger. Juvenile had a lot of influence on who I am today. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I definitely cleaned my life up, and I chose not to go down a certain path for a reason. But jail definitely has a lot of influence on who I am. And back then, my mother could not understand why I walked around with pants halfway down my ass. My graduation picture, I had a full row of front gold teeth. My dad was laughing at it. He thought it was funny as hell, but my mom was ashamed and embarrassed. She didn't give nobody my graduation pictures. This hood mentality, she could not stand it, and she could not understand where it came from. But I got something for y'all. At the age of 15, a lot of things that we could have worked out in the home, and this messed my psyche up because as an adult, instead of me trying to work my problems out, I just cut people off. I just burn bridges. I just cut them off. And this is something that I've definitely had to heal through. This is something that has, like I say, burnt a lot of bridges in my past. I've fucked up a lot of relationships, you feel me? But I'm still here, and God is still on my side. I still follow God, you feel me? I believe in God, and when I say I am blessed, I'm here telling y'all this testimony today to let y'all know it doesn't matter what you go through. Wealth can still be yours. Now, I'm the one to talk about accountability and responsibility, right? So I will say this, yes, I made the choices that I made when I was a teenager. I made the choice to keep my phone. I made the choice to stay out late. And I made the choice to see who I wanted to see when I was in school. And when I was 16, I was told no. My friends had a surprise birthday party for me at this club. My parents told me I couldn't go, and I still went. All these led to me being arrested, warrants out for my arrest, violation of probation, violation of curfew, truancy, disobeying house rules, violation of probation. By the age of 15, I felt like communication was one-sided. I had been locked up over 20 times, y'all. 20 times. At the age of 15, I had been locked up over 20 times. I had no idea back then how traumatizing that was, you feel me? Until I became a young adult and started realizing how it was really affecting my mental. So I had to go get help. And I'm here to let y'all know, man, don't matter what you come from. It don't matter what you come from. It don't matter what the story behind you look like, you can still become wealthy, you can still become successful, you can still bypass all that and just have that as a story in your past and be whatever you want to be in life. You feel me? I really did feel like my mom hated me. I felt like she really didn't accept me as a person. Like I said, communication was one-sided. I didn't really feel supported emotionally. For us to have what we had in the community that we lived in, I felt like it was just a shortage. And it made me resent her for having me in the suburbs, because when I lived in the hood with my grandmother, I experienced something completely different. I understood what love was, family, being cooked for, cared for, all that stuff. And it was just a completely different energy. So when I was younger, that's why the suburbs and the hood, like I couldn't get with the suburban shit. I chose hood over suburban life. Y'all, it is, what time is it? It's 2:53 a.m. right now, and I just got back from working the Justin Bieber concert in Atlanta, and it's March, what's today's date? It's March 23rd. The show was yesterday and the day before. It's just being in that environment, seeing him perform, being up close. The shit is fucking amazing. And I love every part of, I love the people I worked with. You know, this is not the only thing that I do. This is just something that I do on the side for extra income. And it's something that I freaking love. And I will say this too. I've gotten music placements before. I'm a musician. I'm a songwriter first, but I'm also an artist. We're gonna get to that later. I got my first film placement this year. Now, I'm gonna put that information out later. So excited, but it ain't much that I can talk about right now when it comes down to it, because y'all already know how that go. And last year I got my first, this is huge for me, celebrity features. Yes, I'm gonna name drop because I come from a hard place, you feel me? And I had to work hard for what I get. So everything for me is an accomplishment, and we gonna celebrate, y'all. Celebrate with me, we celebrate together. I celebrate y'all accomplishments too. The Game featured on one of my records last year, reposted my video, sent me a video where he's promoting my song. Busta Rhymes, one of the biggest OGs in the game, shouted me out, did a drop for one of my records, so I'm able to feature him on whatever I want to feature him on.
I don't wanna grow and play victim to these Savannah streets. Everything we do right now has an impact on my mind. Please sit me down and talk to me when I mess up. Take your time. Why does it seem like that's so hard to do? Learning my wisdom from streets in the school. When I'm at home, I'm good, so lucky. When I get away with the drugs on my tube, my people checking my stool.
Crazy, you feel me? I haven't even figured out what records I'm really gonna put all of it in, but y'all gonna hear it soon. I know I just gave y'all some sauce. I got other stuff lined up too. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot going on for me right now. When I say a couple of years ago, I was running in this cycle where I was living paycheck to paycheck, facing eviction, credit horrible. And when I say I turned my choices around, which helped turn my life around, life is great today. That's my story time. That's how I got put on probation. But I just want y'all to know, no matter what y'all go through, y'all can still win. The choice is yours. You don't have to be a product of what you came from. You don't have to be a product of the hood. You don't have to be a product of the system. You don't have to be a product of none of that. You can overcome all of that. Don't have a victim mentality. Start taking responsibility for your own life. Hold yourself accountable. And don't smoke too much weed like me. All jokes aside, that joint has got me through a lot in life, and I can kind of imagine what life would be without it, but I don't want to be without it right now. So a couple of years ago in 2017, I followed one of my OGs, and yes, I say my OG because he's somebody that I follow. Jay-Z, I follow his footsteps, and I took it upon myself to get my own distribution deal through Universal Music Distribution Group. That's one of the best decisions I could ever make in my life, because I chose to take my music career in my own hands, you feel me? And with that being said, I produce my own music, I wrote my own song. My mind, I wanted to be a 100%er. So when I put that record out, I paid for radio spins at a discounted rate that you can only get through the Universal Music Group distribution deal that I had. Record labels and artists are paying 10,000 radio spins. We got it for fractions of that, you feel me? So I paid for my radio spins, put the song out. It's called East Side by Infinite D. You can find it on YouTube and all the streaming platforms. That's back when I used to go by Infinite D. And the record spun on the radio for 1 week straight in Indiana, right? The month after that, I had a call with the executive that I work with from Universal Music Distribution. We had a long talk about how it was gonna take a while for me to really see income from my streams, yada yada. But at the end of the call, she said, wait, you charted? And I said, what? First I thought she was talking about like, you know, Billboard charts, right? And I'm like, what you mean? How did I chart? Like, what's going on? And she said, you put your song out on the radio. So the Nielsen BDS radio charts, those are huge too. That's a step right up under the billboards. Look it up. I was at number 2, East Side by Infinite D. I hit number 2 on the Nielsen BDS radio charts, a song I produced, I engineered, I wrote it, I did everything myself, and that was one of my biggest accomplishments, starting my own music career, starting my own journey. So I'm sure a lot of you artists are inquiring about how to start your journey, about how to take your career in your own hands. Some of you may be waiting on a record deal, but I'm telling you, things ain't the same no more, and it's a lot better when you have your career in your own hands. Trust me, go educate yourself. You wanna do the work. Ain't nobody managing nobody no more, especially if you ain't got nobody to manage. You gotta be your own manager. And people who wanna say they gonna be your manager, you need to really see what their intentions are, see what their motives are, because you can't have everybody on your team, especially if you're really, really talented. You really gotta do this work yourself, man. You feel me? So, that being said, that's all my testimony for today. As I stated in my last video, me and the team is putting together an artist program for you artists who don't know where to go, what to do, or how to become a successful artist. We helping y'all get paid. We helping y'all chart on the Billboard charts. We helping y'all get on the Breakfast Club radio, on the Ricky Smiley radio. We helping y'all playlist on Spotify, Tidal, and all the big playlists on those streaming companies. We doing all that, you feel me? So stay tuned. The curriculum, everything is being put together right now. Keep giving you that sauce. I appreciate y'all for tapping in. And namaste, motherfuckers.
Since the age of 14, I've been putting in work. Ain't no leeches, can't come see me, just gon' get burnt. When she come, it ain't no panties on her skirt. I overstand why all my haters mad at her. Hot temp dessert.